Great. So good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us in our deep dive discussion. I would like to present our experts, Karen Eber Davis with Karen Eber Davis Consulting and Gail Bauer with Bauer and Company Consulting. They both have over 25 years experience helping the nonprofit sector develop and generate reliable sources of revenue, which they will be discussing today. So without further ado, I would like to pass it over to Gail. So
Great.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Anna, and thank you so much to the Arts and Business Council for being here, and thanks to everyone for being here too. Of all the nonprofit sectors and subsectors, arts and culture has definitely been hit the hardest in terms of revenue. That's based on some very prestigious studies, national studies that have been done, including one that Karen and I co-authored that we're going to talk to you about today. The most ironic and maybe galling piece of this is that you all probably did everything that foundations asked, which is to diversify your revenue and build up earned income. And yet that is the area that got clobbered the most. So we really get it. We really understand how difficult this time is. But if you're like most nonprofit arts executives that I've spoken with, there is one word that gets you really jazzed, and that is the future. As you're dealing with the short-term craziness that you have to deal with, the midterm operational questions, the future is where you're most excited, and that's where Karen and I are going to spend some time talking with you today. So Karen is going to share with you the agenda, and then we're going to just dive right in, deep dive right in. In the meantime, my name is Gail Bauer. Nonprofit organizations hire me as the revenue strategist. I help organizations put more money in their mission and more mission in their money. My clients have doubled, tripled, and quadrupled revenue within a year, and that's just the first year. And now I want to turn it over to Karen, and we'll get underway.
Thank you very much, Gail, and welcome everyone as you come in and join us. It's great to be here with you, sort of virtually in Miami. And thank you for the Arts and Business Council for putting this session together today. I am happy to share with you that there's a worksheet that is in the chat box. If you did not open it, you'll be using that in our breakout rooms today. We're thrilled. We rescheduled how we're doing this, so there'll be 2 breakout sessions. You will meet with the same people, the same group twice during this session. We're going to start by talking about the survey, and then we'll move into some questions about where revenue opportunities are bubbling, and leave you with a challenge of what might work for you. And really the goal here is that you go home and go home. If you're not home already, you go back to your group and you say, I've got some things I want to bubble, and to encourage you to figure out what those are and to come up with some solutions. So my work for the last 25 years has been about helping nonprofits to build the infrastructure they need to raise revenue long term. I have 2 books. One is called Let's Raise Nonprofits Millions Together, which is how it's really about fundraising for the non-fundraiser, how everyone can help you raise money and how you can activate people. And the second one is about the 7 streams of nonprofit income. So let's begin with seeing what happened in the study that we did. We put the study out in the month of June. We had 125 national participants. They ranged everything from the small mom and pop to multi-million, $5 million plus organizations. And we were pretty national. I think we were about 34, 40 states of the 50. 40% of those were arts organizations. And one of the questions we asked, that we would like to ask you the same thing to continue the study, is do you expect by the end of the year that your revenues will increase, decrease, or stay the same by the end of December 31? And you're going to write your answer in the chat room. And if all works well, I'm going to paste that question here. Okay, we're going to paste the question in the box so you can see this.
So if everyone could open their chats and actually if you could turn on your video so we can see you. This is a round table.
Wait a moment.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hi, Tama. Hello. Let's see, I don't see your name. The next person.
There it is. Okay.
So, hello, Annalie. Anna, come on, everyone, turn on your, wake up, wake up.
It's increasing. Stay the same. So if you have to
technical difficulties.
My answer went to everyone. Let me put it just to you.
Everyone's good. That's great. That's what we want.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we want to have a discussion, and
You're right.
that's why
we want you to see what other people are saying.
Yeah.
Hey, Carlene. I see your name, not your face. Let's see your lovely face, Carlene. Hey,
All right, so we have lots more stay the same. We have one decrease, one increase due to more foundation emergency monies. That's terrific. And two more stay the same from Irene and Annie, or Ani. I'm sorry. There's could be a different pronunciation. It will decrease due to inactivity. Yes, Christine, that's definitely what we're seeing in a lot of organizations. All right, who else hasn't stay the same? We hope. Good. Okay, well, we hope so too. We hope it stays the same. Decrease. Okay, Margaret, yes. Sorry to hear that. Hopefully we'll have some more good news. Decrease from Sarah Lee. Okay. Anyone else want to fill some? Is anyone else? All right. So we see that there's a lot more stay the same than there is decreasing. And for the people who are seeing decreases, we hope that today's session will kind of give you some more amplification. I want to, before we move to the next segment, let's hear from you. Let's get into a new frame of mind instead of thinking about money, because we want to encourage some more energy. And so again, please turn your video cameras on, and we want you to go to the chat again, and we want you to type in 7 words or less what you're grateful for about COVID. What are you grateful for about COVID that happened? So just go to the chat and type that in, and then working from home, yes. Program innovation, yeah, Annie, good. Who else? Who else is grateful for something? More time with my partner and time outside, yes, that's wonderful.
Family time from Christine. Open minds to new venues to live stream. Thank you, David.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oops, this is going so fast. Time to reflect on what's important. A lot of us have been doing that.
Yeah.
Margaret, Black Lives Matter. Thank you. Sarah Lee, grateful for health of those I love. Sleeping better.
Yay.
Giving us focus on programs to directly help those in the greatest need. Caroline, working from home, family time, no more Miami traffic. Yeah, it's amazing driving around when there should be traffic. Okay, Christine, learning new performance options via streaming. Carlene, time to create. Reconnecting with many people.
Excellent. All right, Karen, keep going there.
Okay, so I'm really interested to hear your answers to the question about revenue, because when we did the study in June, 40% of people, most people thought that their revenue was going to decrease through the year. And so what we've seen over the summer, and really from your evidence, is that a lot of you are finding ways. Not all of us, it's maybe not the same thing, but we're finding ways to tread water in this new place. And so that's very interesting. It's encouraging. Again, not everyone is able to get there yet, but many of you are planning ways to get there. So here's a question for you. What forms of revenue in terms of what will come in 2021 do you feel most optimistic about? And I'm going to, if all goes well, paste this into, there's a list of 7 choices or 6 choices. Oops, same question. Let me get the other one. Try this again.
So again, the question is, what revenue form do you feel most optimistic about And Karen's going to type in 7 revenue forms so that we can see it consistent with what we learned in the
Okay,
study.
so which one revenue source are you most optimistic about heading into 2021? So this is a chat answer. Private donations from Christine, thank you. Grants from Charlotte. Individual donations, David, thank you.
Individual donations, yeah, okay, we got that one. Government grants and small programming from Margaret. Valerie, foundation grants. Charity, annual giving and grants, so that's 2 forms, yep. Leslie, government grants. All right, we'll keep typing and I'm going to keep going a little bit. We learned some really interesting data through this study, but instead of just asking numeric questions and survey questions, we also tried to gauge a feel for where people were. So we gathered some qualitative information as well as quantitative information. And 3 points of optimism that nationally organizations are feeling, not just arts organizations, although arts was the largest sector in our study, but 3 areas that people were most optimistic are consistent with what you're saying here. Number 1 is that they were very grateful and optimistic about the relationships that they had with donors, with foundations, and also with sponsors and the business community, and the generosity of these and how important that they were in their network and their enterprise. The second point of optimism is new opportunities. So that's something that Karen, that really hit home for Karen and me because we love helping organizations improve or create new opportunities for revenue. And among those included even PPP, and also their government sector, whether it was state or local, were actually chipping in for operating costs, which of course, as you know, is not something that they usually do. And even one person in the arts world mentioned that as she was completing our survey, she got a text on her mobile phone that said that a funder was going to support a social justice program. So she was really excited about that. And the third thing that, the third point of optimism was that these leaders were doing everything that they could to increase awareness of their organizations, and that they were so confident in the value of what their organizations delivered that was leading to optimism and confidence about where they were going in the future. So hopefully some of those points resonate for you as well. All right, what else do we have here? So starting from the bottom up, earned revenue from new members, earned revenue related to programs. So that was Emma and Caroline. Irene, professional services revenue and government grants. That's good. So that sounds kind of like a new pivot. Sarah Lee, government. Leslie, also government. And I think we got everyone else there. Awesome. Okay, so Karen, next.
Yes, thank you, Gail. Beyond the data, we had everyone writing comments, and that was where the data became more fascinating, or where the information became more fascinating. Because as we looked at that data, we saw a very interesting pattern. In fact, there were 3 aspects of the pattern, and it was about leadership. And what we saw were people responding in one of 3 ways. I have my showing here is my PowerPoint slide of despairing D. There were a lot of people, and I think it was part of the time, and it could have been the day or the week or the hour that we were asking these questions, were in a sense of just despair. Things were bad, things were shut down, they couldn't do things, and everything was canceled. And I'm thinking, if you remember back to June, a lot of us felt that way. And it seems like it takes 2 to 3 months, perhaps, for people to pivot and find the new ways, but find them we are indeed doing. So there's a time when we go through the COVID experience and all these changes that we are in despair, and it's very overwhelming. So this is despairing D, perhaps a choice we all make as a process. There was a second set of people, and they were sort of what I call accepting owls. Accepting owls were like, this is the facts. It's a bit like when you go for new tires for your car. You don't really want to do that, but you need new tires. So you're going to go get new tires today. So these are the facts. We did these things. These are the things we tried. This is what's happening. Here's what's at. So my theory on this is that people move from despair into acceptance. And then there is this person we've encouraged you to consider working towards and leading from is Solving Sal. Solving Sal was that person who had some optimism. Well, we've canceled all our events, but we're trying these new things. One person wrote about how they were already doing a matching campaign and it looked good. So they were trying new things, experimenting, and in that they had hope. So they had moved from, oh my gosh, this is terrible, horrible, rotten, to, oh, you know, it's tough, to, okay, how can I solve this? And from that point, we saw optimism, we saw innovation, we saw creativity and solutions that people were, they may not work, but they were going to try some things. So we're going to break you into track groups randomly. You will see on your screen in a minute an option to go. These will be a 4-minute chat room with up to 4 people, if all goes well technology-wise. And the question we would like you to discuss, let me see if I can paste here. Enter.
You're also going to need your worksheet for this too. So
It's your worksheet question.
pull out
During
the worksheet.
COVID-19, when have you used the solving leadership style?
So as you're planning to move into the breakout room, just pull out your worksheet and spend a minute and just, you know, think about that, jot some ideas down. And when you get in the chat room, you'll discuss it with your colleagues.
And
again,
also, start by a quick introduction, so you have one minute apiece, basically. And we'll send this question into the chat room too.
Yeah.
To you.
And again,
Okay.
you may want to turn your video cameras on so that you can all see each other and connect, because that's what this is all about.
We'll
All
see
right.
you in about 4 or 5 minutes.
Hopefully Kayla is getting everything ready. Well, welcome back, everyone. Everyone's coming back fast and furious. Again, we'd love to see your faces. We're bored in our houses as well, so we'd love to see your faces. If you wouldn't mind putting on your video.
Thanks, Margaret. And
Yeah.
Valerie.
Exactly. All right, as we gather back here, let's go back to, okay, sorry, your microphone's not working. Okay, well, thanks, Margie. We appreciate that. We're desperate for human contact as well. We're desperate to see each other as well. All right, so I hope that that was really valuable for you. So go back to your chat box again, and I want you to list in there whether you classified yourself as solving Sally, analyzing Al, or dreading Dot. What did we say? Dreading, was it Dot?
Oh, it was
dreading Dory.
Despairing D.
Despairing D. Okay, sorry about that. I got the name wrong. It was different in our notes. So how many solving people do we have up there? So type in solving if you're solving. Type in analyzing if you're still in the analyzing acceptance phase. Okay, we got some solving so far. And how many despairing Ds do we have? We have Margaret, let's see, Margie solving, Margaret solving, Edward solving, Annie solving, great, Catherine solving, Sarah Lee solving, Tama, I'm solving a Sally after a bit of despairing and analyzing. Yeah, we totally get that. But yeah, this is a process. Irene solving and analyzing. So you're right in between Valerie, analyzing, solving, Dave solving, Christine, Charity, solving, Margaret, now despairing. Okay, well, we'll focus on that. Leonie solving, Sarah Lee, now despairing. All right, so for those of you who are somewhere between despairing and analyzing and not yet at solving, try to spend a moment and think about what it is that you need. If you want to turn on your microphone and talk, that's fine. If it's too much, if you want to type in the chat box, that's fine. And maybe Karen and I can give you some suggestions. Or if you'd rather just take some notes and keep going, but even just acknowledging where you are is going to really help you so that we can help you move out into the next phases. Valerie, did you have your hand raised? If anyone wanted to talk, go ahead, Valerie.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Did you call on me? I was just distracted.
I thought you had your hand raised. So if you have your hand raised and you wanted to talk about where you are on that continuum, feel free.
Oh, I feel that we are analyzing and solving. We've had, so I'm with artists and residents in the Everglades, and we invite artists from local, but also national and international artists to come. And we've had to, so we have basically reschedule all of our artists for 2020 to 2021. Right. And then in terms of programming, we've started a virtual program. So we're getting there, but we still have more things to resolve, and we're trying to reshape our program. So it's, you know, COVID has definitely posed some serious challenges. So
yeah,
but we're trying to be patient, and it's kind of waiting it out right now.
Yeah, but you did use a key term that I want to just reflect back. You said you're resolving things. So even though it feels despairing, and even though it feels awful, and even though it is a big hassle that you've had to totally reschedule everything, you are resolving. You are, you know, lining things up. So is there any one activity that you're excited about going forward in the future, 2021 or beyond?
Yeah, well, we're we're really taking this time to do sort of some deep dives, some really heavy analysis. I mean, for instance, we went through and looked at where every cent we spent in the last 5 years went. Wow. And that gave us a lot of information about, you know, where we need to shift our priorities. So that was in a way that was really valuable for us. And Well, I can't, there's some things going on I just can't announce publicly.
Yeah.
So I
That's
am
totally
looking
fine.
forward.
Yeah.
So,
So one
I guess like
suggestion. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Well, I was going to just say that I hope that, by the end of this discussion today, you've got some more ideas, but I think that that analysis is probably extremely helpful for you. And one of the things that we see from the data that we collected and from working with our own clients and other organizations we've talked to is that you want to focus on how you'll emerge from this time stronger and with greater capacity. And it sounds like that analysis that you're doing and making really smart and strategic decisions is going to help you move into that place, as unsettling as it may feel at the moment. So thank you for sharing that comment. And please connect back with us at, in the Q&A and see if there's something else we can help.
And Gail, Margie has said that what we need is knowing how best to bring patrons back and when this will truly happen. So that's the $1 million question or bazillion dollar question that we all have, but when. And what I'm seeing, Margie, and I don't, maybe you're looking at this, is people are finding ways to do that in small ways or different ways. I was traveling in the Durham area, and there was a pool facility, and they traditionally make a lot of their money during the summer because it's Durham, North Carolina. And what they had done is they opened the pool to 25 families from 2 to 4 in the afternoon. You're thinking, I'm not a pool, I can't do that. But yet the model of finding a way that they could do something that really solved the need was, to me, can be applied in many places. It's just you have a venue, and maybe if you're a presenter, how could you present to your top 25 people if you have room for 25? Just playing with new ideas. So I don't know if that's helpful or not, Margie. One of the things I think it's important to recognize too in this process is that many days you move from despairing to analyzing to solving in 5 or 10 minutes. Some days you get stuck in one of those places, and it's all okay, especially if you don't get stuck totally in despair.
Yeah, Margaret, I saw your hand moving up. It's grieving. It goes in waves, it comes in waves, and it's okay. It really is okay to just give yourself that space to just say, you know what, I'm really having a not good day today, and take good care of yourself and come back when you're ready. So,
okay. And Margie says too, we're planning in 2021, but maybe 2022. So I guess the question is what could you do if we're still in lockdown or even more lockdown? Is there anything in 2021? And can you dual plan? One of the nonprofits, I was speaking with the CEO, and she's like, we're having a gala next year. We don't know what kind it will be. We're planning for both. Really a lot more work. Back to that grieving and, oh my gosh, up the hill all the time. But what are the possibilities?
You see, Sarah, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Please correct. Sarah, I see you nodding. Sarah, yeah, thank you. So she wrote in the chat, we are considering doing for the first time a fundraising appeal to both our current supporters, both corporate and individual, and new ones through personal relationships. What are your opinions about the effectiveness of this approach during this time? Well, with that very limited information, I think it sounds like a great idea. One thing that I tell clients all the time is you have to start where you are. So, the best time to have planted a tree was, 80 years ago, but we can't go back in time. So now the best time is right now. And so you're going to start with building from the relationships that you have and moving forward. And again, as I said earlier, you're going to be in a better place a year from now, 2 years from now, and so on. So yeah, it really helps you gauge and connect the people that really are passionate about your mission. And that's what we started to see with the other people that participated in our study. Karen, any other thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I want to go ahead and move on because we have time for Q&A at the end, and we'll have to come back to this. And in fact, if we run out of time, we will stay later to do some more Q&A if folks want to stay on. So this question I want to ask, where have you seen, this is a chat answer again, where have you seen or experienced revenue breakthroughs? I gave you the example of the pool. Another example that I can share is the LA Zoo did a thing called the Beastly Ball. They made more money at that than they did traditionally. And not only that, instead of serving or talking to 1,000, 2,000 donors, they talked to 10,000 donors. So that was a real breakthrough that they said, we're never going back to the traditional only. So where are you seeing your own organization, or where else are you seeing it elsewhere, either in Miami or elsewhere? People are breaking through and finding new ways to earn revenue now.
While you're typing, I'll share another example to kind of get the wheels rolling. A colleague of mine I met her when she lived in New York, but she's from Australia, and she went back to lead the Sydney Symphony Orchestra. And they launched a program called 50 Fanfares, where they commissioned 50 composers from Australia to create compositions that they would record, and they created a whole packet to use in schools, so that they're documenting and creating works by living Australian artists, and presenting them online, and then engaging children through that. So I thought that was a really great project that they probably got funding for. And I imagine that most nonprofit arts organizations have a whole list of back burner projects that might be time to dust off and pull out and see if you can find funding for.
So a concern about free online offerings, yes, but I've seen paid ones working too. The Massachusetts Historical Society is going to have John Meacham, I'm saying this not Pulitzer Prize winning author, $500 tickets. So that to me is tremendous investment. It's a famous keynote, well-known speaker, but yet they are moving forward with that. The audience is no longer geographically bound. That's was one of the comments about today's session. The Miami staff said, hey, we got more people coming from different areas. We're going to do breakout rooms again now. It's the same groups again. And your question is to say, what are some places, let me get the question up, places, what revenue opportunities do you see for your organization? We're going to spend a little time longer. You can use your worksheet, encourage you to write down several ideas, and to encourage each other with ideas that you could help them find. If you can't find any for yourself, help someone else find some ideas.
So we're encouraging you again to list 5 revenue sources that you see as potential, that could have potential opportunity for your organization.
Either now or in 2021. And that's it. We should be going away. We'll have a little bit longer.
Kayla's sending us off.
much I know, but what I'm trying to understand if our organization that is non-profit will benefit in any way, listening of the struggling that you're going through, which are very similar to ours too.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We hope that that was a fruitful exercise for everyone. And we have 5 minutes. So quickly, so we can answer plenty of questions. We can't wait to hear what you came up with. So go to the chat room again, and also be sure to note this on your worksheet, and just note one next step you're going to take in terms of moving forward with any one of these ideas that you came up with. So again, go to the chat and just type in a next step you're going to take, put that in your worksheet, and we're going to gather all this information and send it back out to everyone. And if you came up with some super ideas, we'd love to hear those as well. So Karen and I are going to email all of you and let you know, we're going to share the national study that we put together that has links to some other studies, as well as a webinar that Karen and I hosted in July with announcing all the results. It has lots more recommendations, as well as recommendations in the report. We're also going to share with you a white paper that we recently put together that has lots of really good information, and you'll receive regular communication from both Karen and I with more suggestions and more tips on each of our areas of expertise. So you'll have that to look forward to. And I know that the Arts and Business Council, Anna mentioned that she is going to send out the recording and some other information to you as well. So you'll be hearing more from us. So again, please, use that chat function. I see some stuff coming in, so we'll take a look at that. But now let's open it up to questions and find out more from you about what questions you came to this meeting with today. What can we help you with? And again, when we have to close up, we will do that at a quarter of, and we'll stay a little bit longer. Who has a question for us? You can raise your hand or raise the virtual hand. Catherine, go ahead.
I'd love to learn about the text to donate. I didn't know you could do that. Could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, let's see, I know David. David, you have that.
Yeah. If you can hear me.
We can.
We've investigated and we're moving forward with text to donate because all of our concerts will be online in some fashion this year, and we have a ton of them. We have a Beethoven festival that includes a dozen concerts on its own, and we're doing a weekly happy hour series through October, and then large concerts in the spring. We're anticipating not being able to have audiences from time to time that are live, and we're also anticipating very low online ticket sales. There's just a plethora of, as we've talked about, of free concerts out there, and we've always been a company that services low-income people. So we've investigated text to donate. We're going with Snowball, and this allows you to receive donations by advertising the text to donate at any time during the concert. Especially live stream allows you to flash it on screen. This technology allows you to name a price or several price ranges or any price depending on the campaign. But this is actually our way of allowing people to donate simply without having to even go to the PayPal button. So they go to their phones with, anybody under 50 really does now, and they text. And they text the amount, and we receive the amount.
Great. David, there's several questions. What organization are you from?
Say that again. I'm sorry. Hard to hear. Say it again.
What organization are you from? People are asking.
Yeah, I still have trouble.
Nonprofit. Yeah, go ahead.
What nonprofit organization are you with, David? Several people in the chat have asked what your organization is.
Orchestra Miami. Elaine Rinaldi is the artistic director.
Terrific. Thank you.
We have several other questions, Gail. Is there a reference source for successful virtual Gail? We can put that in the follow-up information, as well as the one that Gail went to, which was also a successful one. And another question is, per your survey, what was the nonprofit sector least impacted by COVID? In many cases, social services and technology groups, some people had government contracts that were already in place that would take them through what they thought was the immediate future. So people who had already had money locked in. Okay. There's one, that. Okay, other questions?
Can you please share a list of foundation, government, corporate funding available to nonprofits to apply to right now? For example, MDC Cultural Affairs and Miami Foundations both have a call for grant applications for nonprofits affected by COVID-19. Anna, is this a resource that the Arts and Business Council has? Otherwise, I know that the foundation directory has an online directory that if you don't want to subscribe to or are unable to subscribe to, most libraries have access to it online. You can go to their website and find out which library in your region has it, and they will help you, but you can do a search to see what organizations are doing that kind of giving.
Okay, so we are at 10:46 and the closing time was 10:45, so I want to close out for you and thank you for coming. And one thought I had listening to that is many of us fear moving forward. We fear no one will come, but what's really the truth, our donors love us and care about us and want us to do well. And so perceiving and trying and piloting things and involving our donors can be a lifesaver. And to close, I want to quote from Ruth Bader Ginsburg on leadership. Fight for the things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. Your organization is something you care about. Fight for it in a way that others will join you. Thank you so much for being here. And again, we'll stay on and take any more questions that you have. Okay, I think you're staying. What's up? Tell us how we can open your mics and talk to us.
So is anybody seeing any good revenue sources from new corporate sources at this time? Or in other words, do you feel that that's not a good way to achieve some fiscal goals?
Well, a big part of my area of expertise is corporate sponsorship, and don't rule corporate sponsorship out. Too many nonprofit organizations think about corporate sponsorship as a donation. They sell gold, silver, bronze packages, which are pointless and not valuable. I actually wrote a book during the last recession. I don't know if you can see it here.
Oh, it makes you disappear.
Yeah, it's the virtual
She'll put the link in. She'll put the link in.
Yeah, I'll put the link in. Anyway, the corporate sponsorship is a marketing medium, and what organization does not need to market right now? So if you think about providing value and value-driven corporate sponsorship, that's a way to go. There are also many other tools that should be in your toolbox around corporate. Depending on your audiences, every corporation is concerned about and thinking about diversity, equity, and inclusion right now. So if that's part of your audience, that might be a topic that would be appealing to organizations and would really help the community that you serve. So I'm not recommending capitalism, bare naked capitalism on the backs of diverse audiences, but if your goal is to build diverse audiences, which I hope that for everyone it is, and then that is something that you can acquire funding for from the for-profit, from the corporate sector. Just
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And many found that many corporations are doing quite well. Like we should have all bought in Zoom. So it's thinking about who is doing well right now too.
Public's market, yeah.
Who else has a question? Go ahead, Valerie.
I want to know more about virtual fundraisers. how you know, I mean, I've heard about some, and I'm signed up to participate in one that I just can't wait for. But I guess if you could talk a little bit more about virtual fundraisers.
When I did a series when this COVID started about how to lead with vision, not fear, and part of that I interviewed the people who put on Beastly Ball with the LA Zoo, and that's a really interesting story because they were all ready to go and decided it wasn't going to happen, and they were afraid they were going to open up. So they put this Beastly Ball together in 6 weeks. But the background is they had a lot of Hollywood experience, and it was very much a production. And those that are successful are looked at like, in a way, a TV program. And we'll put the link in, you can still watch that and see. But the beauty of some of that is you could have people who are connected to you who are around the world be part of that. It's no longer only Miami. It's no longer flying people in. How can you creatively put something together? And I think that was Gail's experience too, the one that she attended recently. Well put together. They did the before party, they did the after party. How can you use the gifts and things that you really are known for to display those at that event?
Yeah, the blog post that I put in the chat box kind of goes through the whole rundown of what happened. So that was not a Hollywood production. That was a 5-year-old arts organization in Brooklyn. So hopefully that will give us.
The other piece too is what they found out was people really loved them. And you know, at least, and that I think is the message of real hope here, is that you're people who care about you and support you. You can put, I mean, you don't put crap out, it's not a technical term, but you want to remember that they want to support you. How can you help them do that? That you are providing them something of value by letting them be part of your community, and they want that. They want to see you keep going.
Another thing too that I would think about is I produced festivals, very large scale music festivals before consulting. So thinking about event experience is really important to me. And I think we have to think about that on the virtual format as well. One of the things that I loved that this dance company did was they had people show up at a certain time, you know, in a 10-minute window for the VIP party, and they welcomed everybody by name as they came in, which I thought was a really nice touch. So you have to remember that it's a very intimate experience because we're all hanging out in our living rooms or on our kitchen counters or whatever. And so you're actually beaming into someone's living room. It's very, very informal, but very personal, very intimate. And I think you can do a lot to leverage that.
Karen and Gail, are you finding, this is Irene, are you finding any increased movement during this time for nonprofits that are in the same or similar sectors partnering up or collaborating on events, or even possibly merging their organizations for survival?
Yes.
Yeah,
people are definitely exploring that as one option. In Sarasota, the historic Spanish Point and Selby Gardens are combining. There's just this movement about like, how do we survive? How do we do this together? And I think some of the walls that kept us apart have fallen down, and we're going to this new space.
Interesting.
I also, we saw this a lot after the recession, the Great Recession back in 2008. And I spoke at a lot of conferences that collaborated. So instead of two associations producing their own conference, they blended their conferences together, which was lovely. So yes, there's a practical reason for doing it, for survival reasons, as Karen said. However, I would also think about the positives that are gained from doing it. And what I found at some of these different conferences is that blending all these audiences enlarges the circle around an enterprise and creates more networking opportunities. So in the food space, there was an organization that delivers food to people with diseases, and they held a conference with an organization that delivers food to elderly people. So it's really, sort of the same topic, and they learn from each other. So there's a lot to be gained from doing that besides, the saving of funding.
And I will add to that, and you should be aware, there's many ways to collaborate. You probably already know some of the basic ones. It's like a marriage. You want to date them and have a process to get there. In nonprofits and in businesses, most mergers fail. So it's a cautionary tale. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be exploring that and seeing that, because there's always exceptions to these rules. One of the resources I have is a series of merger documents that I just wrote on my list. I'm not as clever enough to, because Gail's pasted here. So
Thank you.
Yeah, I wrote a multi-part, I'm just looking for it. I wrote a several-part article on blog post on collaboration. So let me see if I can find it.
Kayla or Anna, if you can find Beastly Ball, you might be able to find that link on that one. That was badass. If you can, they're in the background looking things up.
That's with the LA Zoo, correct?
LA Zoo, Beastly Ball, LA Zoo Foundation, I believe. And they still had it online about a month ago. So you can watch the whole event.
Who else has a question for us?
I have a million questions. I'm not sure I can.
Well, we don't have that long, but maybe we can handle the first few 100,000.
Oh, okay. So, you know, I think I'm sitting at a place where, you know, the online pivot we did quickly. We're City Theater, short plays is our bread and butter. So, you know, we saw a lot of other theatrical organizations moving to short plays. And, you know, so there was this kind of like, oh, territory, but not really. I mean, everybody's going to do what they got to do right now. And I think there's this now, you know, like I said, we were solving Sal, and now it's, you know, what can we, just because we can doesn't mean we should, and trying to find the next most meaningful step.
Mm-hmm.
And what
so you're analyzing Al right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess maybe I'm
yeah.
not despairing. I'm analyzing. Thank you. That makes me feel much better.
And I think there is this, we've had this expectation, we're going to be done in 6 weeks. Well, no. And now it's like, are we going to be done in 2021? We don't know. So.
And trying to find something sustainable,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that can keep the organization moving forward and not collapse, or finding good collaborations that can move, you know, further, as Marjorie Lopez put in, you know, to get singly you move fast, together you move further. So trying to find those, again, that are meaningful within the structures that we have, and trying, you know, it's just, I know theatrically, and I know we're all trying to reinvent the wheel here, you know, but it's just, we can't even be together in the same space that relies on the synergy between audience, the synergy between actor and actor, and the synergy between actor and audience.
And your staff and any of those people. One of the, I would encourage you, I'm doing a session later on today for CEOs about what Gail is. But one of the things I'm talking about them about is, like, when you do good design, you do more than one option. So you try to develop 5 or 6 or 7 options, and then evaluate those. How many of them meet your musts and how many meet your wants? And a must is, like, the great story is the must, and this is an Alan Weiss story, who's been our mutual mentor. Alan Weiss goes to California, I need a house with air conditioning. And the real estate agent shows him a house, and that house has a wonderful pool, but no AC. He said, I need air conditioning, I have allergies. And so your must is you would not do it without. And it could be revenue, it could be true to your mission about the kinds of theater you want to put on, whatever those things are, and then all the other ones. And so that's how you begin to explore how to decide between the different ones of those options. But expand your possibilities from 1 or 2 to 6 or 7. And work that process, and really stay in that unknown, what are the options place longer than is comfortable with Al.
Yeah, and think about how, you know, as you put together the criteria by which you're going to evaluate your musts and wants, I would do that before you start brainstorming, so that you have something objective to go back to. I mean, make it and then don't, like, put it away somewhere and pretend you never did it. And then brainstorm, and also think about ideas that can, as we said earlier, allow your organization to be stronger and bigger and bolder in the future. What new capabilities can you develop in the process, so that you're not just coming up with little short-term answers, although you probably need some of those as well. But what could you really latch onto that could take you really, that propels you into the future? There's another colleague of ours, that Karen and I have who writes a lot about resiliency, and he talks about bouncing forward, which is what you want to be doing with resiliency. So think about that. Maybe there's a big idea that is going to take you in a direction that you're like, whoa, this is awesome. And that would solve everything. So hopefully that's helpful.
And Charlotte has written and taking a step back and looking at what works. I think that's sort of an important thing always is we were really anxious to do something. And so our anxiety, our despairing D made us do things and produce a lot. And sometimes at some point it's like, okay, we're just acting, we're not thinking, and taking some time to say, okay, this is what we learned. What is it that was really valuable? And I would also underline it always is what can you do to have that one-on-one conversation with your key people? What can you do to have those relationships be built? Because even all the buzz out there, what really is going to move you forward is people who love your organization and feel like you belong to them and you belong to each other. So Gail, I have it's 11. I need to get running to the my next part of my life. It's been great. Thank you for your questions.
Thank all of you very much.
Thank you. All right, be in touch. We're going to be back in touch with more information and ask us away. Ask questions away if there's more we can help you with. So, all right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.